Let's now take a look at how we can add forces to our RBD simulation. And first of all, let me play the simulation. And if you closely look at some of these pieces, they still have a lot of energy and they continue rolling, or some of them even bounce a lot. And this is kind of a standard behavior with out-of-the-box simulations. So let me stop the animation. And what I'm going to do is dive into the RBD bullet solver. So you can double click the node. And you will notice, first of all, there's a node here. I will explain what this is saying. And there's a null here. So basically what you can do is create pop nodes or pop forces that are usually applied to pop simulations, and you can use them here to drive your RBD objects. So let me show you an example. Type tab and then pop drag. So I will drop a drag node and connect it to this null object. I'm going to use the default, the air resistance to 1, and let's take a look at the difference now. So I'm going to play the animation. And first of all, apparently nothing's happening. And let me take a look behind the wall. And you'll notice, since this drag force, first of all, it's very high. And second, it's being applied to all my simulated objects. So we can either increase the initial velocity of the wrecking ball, or we could also decrease the air resistance. Let's try decreasing the air resistance to start. And let's press play. Okay, so now the wrecking ball is breaking the wall. Let me take a look at the camera view. And now we should have a less energetic motion, or at least the pieces that are breaking will come to a stop much faster. And this alone is looking much, much better. So right now, the only thing that bothers me a bit is this spinning motion. So I will add another drag, but this time I will add a drag spin. So the problem is that you can only connect one node to the null object. What we could do is add a merge, connect it here right between the pop drag and the null, and then connect our pop drag spin. And I will increase the spin resistance just a bit, just to make this more obvious. And let's press play. So now they come to a stop almost immediately, and it's starting to look kind of weird because even with the impact, they're not rotating. And some of the pieces here look a little bit like in slow motion. So of course this is way too high. Let's bring the spin resistance to 0.1 and play. So I think this is looking much better. Of course, you can always play with these values and test to see what's looking better for your shot. For now, I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm going to add something very weird, but you may consider using it for other kind of simulations. I'm going to add a noise or a turbulence. So you can type tab, pop, force, which normally you can use to add a directional force, but you can also use it to add some turbulence. And the nice thing about adding forces inside this node is that they can also be animated. So let's try doing something crazy here. I will let the pieces settle down, and then I will add a very strong force, probably pushing them up and with a very high turbulence. So let's say here in frame 48, first of all, you can turn off the simulation. You can click here on disable simulations. And then let's add some keyframes. So I'll press Alt and click on the force. And then I will also press Alt and click on the amplitude. So let's take a look at the force first of all. So from frame 48 to frame 50, I will increase the force in Y to 10. So 10 is quite high. Let's see how this looks. Don't forget to turn on disable simulations again. So this is a toggle. Let's enable the simulation and let's hit play. So now the force is coming into effect and the rocks will start to levitate upward. So it's kind of silly here, but it may be interesting. Maybe you're working on a sci-fi film and you can try something new. Let's now add some turbulence. So same thing, I'm going to disable the simulation for now. I'm going to go to frame 48 and let's add an amplitude value higher than 0. Actually, I need to go to frame 50. Let's try with a very high value of 5. So this will disturb the pieces a lot. Go back to frame 1 and hit play. So apparently the simulation didn't refresh. Okay, so I forgot to turn off this disable toggle. Let's turn it on and let's try again. Let's press play. And now we can see the turbulence kicking in. And still, since these are RBD objects, they will still collide with each other. They're still colliding with the wall, which is very interesting. But you can do all sorts of crazy things. And most of all, you can control your simulations to a very fine point.